Okay, go.
Okay. I was just thinking after the last message that I left, I just wanted to read a brief excerpt from a letter that I sent my mom back in April of this year. I thought it would perhaps resonate with some of the patriots out there. There was a time when protecting the innocent and standing for the truth was the duty and the responsibility of all who call themselves Americans, followers of Christ, and submitted to the will of God. In that time, they were moral and righteous people willing to stand and fight for independence while living self-sufficient lives and capable of self-governing. That was when the white men adopted the ways of the Native Americans, whom lived this way long before the first Europeans fled the oppression of other white men who made them slaves. The new Americans called this form of society a republic. The Constitution was written for the protection of everyone's God-given rights after the Declaration of Independence recognized all rights come from our Creator, and as such are inalienable, which means no man has a right to alter or attach the rights of others, nor does he have the right to give up his own rights, whereas they're only on loan from God for this existence. The fact is, it's a sin to end one's own life is proof of this truth. Sadly, though, today many have been deceived into the lie that we live in a democracy, majority rule, or simply put, two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. In that form of society, the sheep lose every time, and the people no longer stand for the truth or protect the innocent. Blindly will support what they think is the power or popular opinion or the institution. Even if the institutions that they created become evil and corrupted, and they begin to steal their rights, they will just continue to support them because it's part of their creation. As disciples of Christ denied him when they were challenged by a corrupt government, I wonder how many would deny him today. As someone walking in the ways of Christ, I too know the cost of exposing and overturning evil and exposing this corruption. Aside from my wife and my mother, who would stand with me? Like a friend once said about his stand, I know my friends are behind me. It's just that they're so far behind me I can't see them. That's why now it's the subtle blessings of God that sustain me and give me hope. A call home to hear the sounds, the voices of my mom and my wife, the meow of my cat, the howl of my wolves, the knowledge of one friend and fellow justice of the Chilcotin Nation working to free me. Now these are the blessings that sustain and give me hope. Well, that was written back on April the 4th of this year, 2017. This is now the 19th of October. I no longer have that cat. When I used to call home, he used to come to the phone and paw at it and would meow and rub on the phone, and I would talk to him. That would give me comfort, as well as give him comfort. He passed away. One of my wolves, they used to wait for my call every night, that was older. He recently passed away. My Chilcotin friend, who's been working to help free me, she was arrested May 1st. She's been moved from jail to jail, suffering from malnutrition and illnesses where she can't get natural healing. Like me, she's naturopathic. She doesn't use Western medicine, pharmakia, sorcery, as it were. And the system, they want to force their religion upon you. Therein lies the problem. We don't extort. We stand, we keep standing. And we'll keep standing until we can stand no more. About 5 minutes. Sorry about that. I'm being asked to get off the phone. We only have so much time Access to the phone is a precious commodity, as is everything else. Folks, this is a time that I find looking out from inside the belly of the beast. There's so many people that have no idea of what's going on, how innocent people are being railroaded into prison. Now that the District Attorney Mike Donovan has been appointed by President Donald Trump to be the U.S. Attorney for the western part of the state of Tennessee, now I know why the FBI and others are after me and my wife. Because Michael Donovan, who I sued for malicious prosecution in 2009, is seeking revenge. This is the same Michael Donovan who handled the Mary Winkler case, who initially didn't want to prosecute her at all because he thought, well, even though her husband lay in the bed face down, who was a preacher, she shot him in the back in cold blood as the kids were in the car waiting to go to Florida. Even though she did that heinous act, well, he probably deserved it because he might have done something that she didn't like. Either way, he didn't want to prosecute. Most people don't know that the judge and the attorney that represented her were related to her. That was never disclosed. That was something I talked about on my show. Most people didn't have a clue. Mary Winkler served 3 months in jail, guilty of first-degree murder. Her charges have now been expunged because she served her time. I've spent over 5.5 years of my life locked up behind bars for crimes I've never committed, have never hurt anyone, have worked to help my fellow man my entire life. I've been effectively in ministry since I was a child, always listening and learning, a student of life's lessons, trying to help my fellow man, taking care of myself, standing up for myself, providing for myself and my family, never accepting anything, never asking for anything, never wanting anything. My wife is now looking at the prospects of being sent to prison for 20 years for donating a truck to help transport me to Canada. 20 years. She's lost her job as an engineer she had for 25 years. Now they're looking at stealing our farm. I would ask you to think and pray if there's anything that you can do to assist, to help me and my family, so that we don't have to lose everything that we've worked our entire lives for. Please stand with us so that you won't be there standing by yourself one day. If someone can reach out to Donald Trump and expose the corrupt district attorney that he appointed that he didn't know, he was taking the word of a congressman who he assumed was giving him good information. Michael Donovan, he's the same guy that was involved with prosecuting someone as soon as he was elected that was falsely accused of, well, a political operative that they accused this 65-year-old woman of illegally voting. Well, no, if you go up to an election machine and you give them your name and your card and they put you in front of it and they set it up, all you can do is vote in front of what they give you. There's no way that you can do anything. But yet, this woman was prosecuted. Her husband ultimately died from the stress. This is a backwoods mafia destroying way too many lives in West Tennessee. It's just one part of the country that is totally corrupted. It doesn't have to be that way. But we need people assisting us, talking about this, getting on Facebook. My website is mikeparsons.org. There's bits and pieces of information about this. It's hard for us to do anything to update it at this point. We're basically just waiting the inevitable. Doesn't have to be this way, though. The governor of the state of Tennessee can exonerate me, and immediately I can go home. Please go to mikeparsons.org, review the information, and if you feel so compelled, please speak out and ask the governor of the state of Tennessee, Bill Haslam, to exonerate Mike Parsons, who was falsely convicted in 2009. And if not for those false convictions, he would not be here today. Also, on my website is the reasons for judgment where an international court has reviewed the matter. Please avail yourself of that information. It clearly explains exactly what happened and how I was railroaded by a corrupt system and the courts that had judges who were on the balance of the election I was suing to avoid, who seized an opportunity to silence me and eliminate my ability to go forward with a lawsuit, which would ultimately expose a rigged election. As Donald Trump fought hard to prevent a rigged election in his case, I didn't have the resources. And most people thought, well, you can't fight these folks because they had never fought them. They had never stood up. Though they would vote for me, they weren't willing to stand with me. That's the way it is in a small, out-of-the-way community that nobody seems to care about. We care. We hope you will too. Stand with us so that we can stand with you and keep standing and fighting. God bless, and keep standing.